I don't know about you, but during Halloween, the one thing that I really love to do is watch Halloween-based TV shows slash films. I'm not much of a horror fan, but you gotta admit, it can't be Halloween without putting the odd horror show on. Um, Again, these are my own personal opinions. Comment down below which ones you think you would rather watch at Halloween, and of course let me know if there's any of your favourites or a favourite episode from the TV series that or films that I mention. I think one of the greater ones, starting with the Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone's an odd one because although it's science fiction based, the fact that it has a lot of psychological horror to it can keep you guessing. The fact that it's got quite a lot of twists as well. My favourite one is the Children's Zoo, where a child invites her parents to this zoo, but it turns out that it's a zoo where parents who don't act like parents, which is an odd thing to say, get locked up in the zoo, and I'm assuming learn how to be a parent. No idea. But the point is, a child comes in, and if they want to replace their parents, they put their parents in the zoo and then come out again with a brand new parent, presumably one that's learnt their lesson. There's many different others. There's one that's set in a department shop, and the department store is a clothing store, and this woman comes in and she's accidentally locked in the store. I won't reveal the twist, but the twist is very interesting. A lot of it is black and white. They have done a recent version where it's now in colour, but a lot of it is black and white. And the black and white ones, I think, are absolutely fantastic. They've had actors like Jean Marsh, William Shatner. They've had many different scenarios, like on a plane, in a box. One of the famous ones is the one where it's an entire city. It feels like the city is trapped in time, but there's something odd about the fact that it's trapped in time and the fact that everyone is so pleasant. That kind of psychological horror happens all the time. One other thing I'd like to mention is if you ever go to Disneyland, I think it is in Disneyland Paris, it's certainly in Disney World. They were in both of the American parks, but I think one of them's now been turned into the Guardians of the Galaxy. The other one's still, as far as I know, Tower of Terror, I believe. But they ride that the Tower of Terror is based on the Twilight Zone, and the idea is that the audience are in a Twilight Zone episode. I wonder if you ever watch Twilight Zone and then go. In America, there's a waiting room, and in the waiting room there's several objects that are linked to the Twilight Zone films. And as you're waiting, see if you can work out which Twilight Zone episode each of them come from. On that note, I have to mention a film, and I have to mention this film. This was in my honourable mentions, and this is why. Ghostbusters is and always will be a fantastic horror film. It's family friendly, I think. It's family friendly. It's huge amount of fun. It's got good comedy to it. Personally, I prefer Ghostbusters 2. Because partly because of the Statue of Liberty scene. That will always be in my heart. But next to that is always the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. That has to be in the top highs as well of best scenes. maybe next year I'll do a best Halloween scene, but at the moment we'll do films. It's a fantastic film. By all means, watch it. Be prepared though, because some of the scenes can be quite harsh on young children, so make sure that you watch the film first before you show your kids. Which leads us to an old childish child TV show that I used to watch. It has now had two movies. I believe it's had a reboot as well, but I need to double check on that. And it has to be Goosebumps. Now, I was a huge fan of Goosebumps until I was in secondary school. And then I kind of drifted away from Goosebumps. I'm slowly getting back into the books. But I gotta admit, the TV series kind of freaked me out an awful lot. It was incredibly creepy, a lot of the shows. With Goosebumps, the twist is the more horrifying version of what can happen, and they just come completely out the blue. But they are a huge amount of fun to watch. Fair warning though, some of the subject matters in it can be a bit daunting. I am going to add an honourable mention to this, although thinking about it, my husband will disagree with me, definitely. This is from a TV series that he's definitely watched, and it's Eerie, Indiana. Eerie, Indiana is a young boy investigates mysterious and unknown factors that happen in his city. One of my favorite ones is the Tupperware episode where someone comes in, and you know those people that come in and they advertise their wares, and then they invite you to their house, have a dinner, and then sort of pressure you into buying all of their stuff. Well, this is kind of what happens when one of those people are so obsessed with and so confident of their wares that they start using them for things that they're really not supposed to be. With the Tupperware one, she uses it to keep herself nice and fresh and nice and beautiful, and she does it to her kids as well. Her kids are technically 35 years old, but they look like they're in high school. That is how fresh these Tupperwares have made them. Another one of my favourites is boy goes and has dentures, and they're proper metal dentures. But straight afterwards, he starts having aerial waves where he can communicate with dogs. And it turns out that the dogs have a plan for the humans. The episodes are that bizarre, but they are fun to watch. And sometimes the episode springs on you, but other times it's gradually builds up to the characteristic that the show is, and it always ends with him collecting an item which he puts in his mystery box, investigative box. He's investigative box, evidence box, which he hopes one day will be opened up and someone else will either continue to investigate these strange things or will take them to the president, in the theory that someone will investigate this. There's never an outcome to it, but it's always a fun show to watch. Sticking with childhood loves, I will add this one. Goosebumps was the one that I mostly watched, but this TV series was the one that got me into spooky stories and myths and legends, and that's Are You Afraid of the Dark? Are You Afraid of the Dark is a simple concept. It's a group of kids who sit around a campfire and they tell stories to each other, and you get sucked into the stories. There's stories about vampires, there's stories about one of my favorite ones actually is one where it actually involves the kids. And it's meant to be this strange marble that's meant to help you grant witches, but there's always a catch when you grant witches. It's basically you don't get anything for free. So a lot of people wish, someone wished that they'd become rich and famous, and unfortunately it results in their death because they become so rich and famous that it becomes so overwhelming for them. They get involved in a car crash, and unfortunately they do pass away. Another one dreams of being able to own their own fun fair because they really love fun fairs, but the dream doesn't go according to plan, and it shuts down, and it leaves the character so completely bankrupt that he cannot cope with the bankruptcy. It's the basic scenario. You always be careful what you wish for, and nothing ever comes without risk, and the risk is the wish. And it turns out that there is this spirit linked with this gem that tricks people into getting their own desires. And unfortunately that does link with the characters. It's got a fantastic twist to it as well. If you go on YouTube, they are available. I don't know if every single one of the episodes are available. That one certainly is available. And I gotta admit, the person who plays the spirit freaked me out. He was so good. You'll understand if you see the episode. This next TV series, I've not seen many of them, but I've heard about them enough. As a sci-fi fan, this one had to definitely be on my list. And it is X-Files. X-Files tells the story of two detectives, and they're investigating supernatural phenomena. An honourable mention that I would like to add to this is Supernatural. Very similar, two people investigating supernatural phenomena. You could also say the Brothers Grimm as well. No, Grimm. Grimm Tales, which is a sort of parody to the Brothers Grimm stories of a detective who's meant to be a descendant of the Grimms, who can investigate and destroy all of the creatures that you hear from the Brothers Grimm's tales: werewolf, pigs, aliens, that kind of stuff. Trolls as well. The troll episode is absolutely excellent. But X-Files will always be on top of my list because it is very, very odd and weird, but at the same time it doesn't shove the mysteries in your face. You're kind of solving it at the same time, or I found you're kind of solving it at the same time as the characters are solving it. This is truly phenomenal. By the way, apologies if I keep shrinking down. I injured my back, and my back needs to compress in order to suppress, and I've lost my stand. I've lost my phone stand, so this is kind of propped up at the moment. But this kind of makes it a bit more eerie, I find. Anyway, X-Files definitely would be on my list of things that I would watch. And all of the other films I mentioned and TV series are ones that I would watch. Another one would be Lucifer. And the biggest one that I would choose for Lucifer would definitely be the final episode of series 1, because it was so well played, and it adds to his character as well. So with regards to horror movies, I don't really watch horror movies, but if I could pick one, it would definitely be, Ghostbusters is one. Another would be Final Destinations, for example. Any one of the Final Destination films. 3, not so much, but any of the others are absolutely fantastic. I love the new film, Number 6. Number 6 was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Another one that I would most likely pick, and it's a weird one because it's not it's not a horror film as such, but to me it adds to the kind of psycho imagery in a way. I'll have to put it in the description what its title's called, because I can't quite remember in my head. I think it's like Strawberry Pink or something, or the Strawberry Equation. But the basic principle of it is, what if your dreams, you'd had to pay for your dreams? What would you risk? And it transpires that people would avoid, because everything costs. Seeing a boat costs money. So a lot of people would choose to have this pink, strawberry-like effect as a dream. Except if it came to food, which is, you know, market profitability, you know, with Facebook and marketing. That's how it works. And in the dream episode, that's how it works as well. It's very, very odd and extremely weird. I would definitely highly recommend it. It will freak you out. So that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed my list. Let me know in the comments if you can think of a horror film or TV series that I haven't mentioned that you think would definitely benefit. Again, apologies for the framing. I'll try and improve it for the next video. And I will catch you guys a little bit later. See you guys.